Usually be an influx of female artists and female writers.
Who's this to?
And here, in the bicentennial year, what better superhero to meet than Marvel's own Captain America?
Okay. Can I help you? Oh, this then.
To Lamont.
Okay. Who's this to?
Lamont.
Lamont. How do you spell? L-A-M-O-N-T? Okay.
And now, one of the most memorable highlights of the Marvel Con, the art lesson by Big John Buscema. Well, I've been telling you for the longest time how great Big John is. Now you can see it for yourself. Right now, he was sketching Conan the Barbarian for a room full of wide-eyed and admiring youngsters. And I want to tell you, the way John draws, anybody would be wide-eyed and admiring. In fact, let me stop talking and just sit and watch him for a minute. And now, before we leave John, let me just tell you how you yourself can study under the master right here in his class in New York City.
Those of you who'd like to learn to draw for comics or even to write for them, John Buscema, who was our guest last week, has started his own comic book workshop in which he personally and a staff of some of the most talented people around teach you to write and draw for comics. If you'd like information, and what red-blooded comic fan wouldn't, be sure to write to John Buscema, Department J, Box 394, East Setauket, New York, 11733.
Hi. Here we are in the second annual Marvel Con convention at the Hotel Commodore, and I've got with me two fabulous dealers. On my right, we've got
Art Gummis.
Art Gummis. On my left, we have
Tom Fagan.
Tom Fagan. Two dealers who are going to answer some of those questions for you. Art, take it away. No.
What do you want to ask me?
Well, tell me, is there profit in this? I mean, not profit, but do they really increase in price the way they say they do?
Comic books increase in price.
They do.
About 20% a year.
Now, someone was mentioning about, you mentioned, I think, earlier about Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck.
Now,
this comic book right here came on sale about 6 months ago, and right now it's selling for $4.50 to $6.
And what was it selling for originally?
25 cents.
25 cents.
Yes, the cover price is 25 cents. It's gone up about, I think, about 100% a month since originally coming out. It beats inflation. It's a good investment.
And it's very hard to find, too. It's still very hard to find. We sold out yesterday. We had 35 copies, and we sold out. All we have are number 2s left.
So there is a phenomenon for Howard the Duck.
We can't keep it in stock at any price. At any price.
As a matter of fact, there's a Howard the Duck for President campaign going now by the author, Steve Gerber, the creator of Howard the Duck, and by Marvel Comics in general. And we have for you a Howard the Duck for President pin.
You two have both had one, I've had none. I felt nude. I'm now a person. Howard the Duck. I'm campaigning. Yes. Now then, let's ask some questions. Do we have any original artwork here?
Oh, sure.
Or anything like that?
I guess not.
Also, while Art gets some, Tom, tell me, I hear that you two publish this Marvel Review you're wearing.
The Marvel
Let's
Art
have
Review.
a good look at it.
There it is, folks. Get a good look.
Right? Marvel Review?
Yes.
Marvel Review.
Big posters, yes.
How did you two become publishers of
We
it?
noticed the lack of a publication which would really get into defining what are good comics from the bad. People are always asking, you know, how do I know which would be a good investment? So we got tired of answering people, so we decided to tell them in print. You know, this is good, this is bad. As well as some very good in-depth articles on such characters as Howard in our first issue and Warlock in our second. Warlock came out of a cocoon. Very interesting character.
Oh, I think Art is coming back with some original artwork.
We've got some great stuff here.
Really?
Very nice.
And we have here.
I have some goodies.
Got it?
This is the cover to the Marvel Art Review.
This is the cover.
Right.
To
It was drawn for us by Frank McLaughlin. It shows Howard the Duck surrounded by a bevy of beauties, and
there's little Howard.
there's little Howard on the stump right there. He's reading his magazine Man Thing at the time, and looming out of the shadows is Man Thing himself.
Oh, it's beautiful. Now, what would the price be of this?
This, I'd rather not say. It's still the artist's possession,
Right.
and I'm not sure if he even wants to sell it at all.
I don't blame you.
It's just here as promotional.
Beautiful, just beautiful. What else do we have to see? Okay.
Everyone by now is familiar with Stan's...
should be familiar with.
Stan's origin of Marvel Comics.
And there should be one in every library.
Exactly. And I have a preliminary cover sketch.
Oh, let's see that. John Romita,
Yes.
our all-time favorite.
This is a sign-up of an original by John.
Now, this one we have a price on, right?
Right, this is $69.
Beautiful.
A good number.
Just beautiful. And is there...
Well, first of all, let me tell you about splash pages. Splash pages are the first page in a comic book, and they generally bring the most money. And I have a couple of excellent splash pages from Marvel here. This one is by John Buscema, and it came from Savage Sword of Conan number 11. It's the opening page. It shows Conan on a horse, and it's a battle scene. Nice. That's a beautiful piece.
Did I see another piece?
Yes.
We have a later splash from the same comic book. I believe it was Sword and Sorcery number 11 art? Savage Sword of Conan number 11. Yes, this is a little bit further in the comic book. It shows our heroine in her usual predicament, Malini, trapped in a dungeon. Yes, about to be sold, and all sorts of...
Beautiful.
Yes.
Just beautiful. And I hear John Buscema just opened up an art school that's teaching everyone how to do cartooning now, and has classes in session, right?
We were selling his, well, I think it's graduating, and they published a catalog of their artwork.
Right,
And we're
John Buscema's
students.
workshop.
And we sold it out. We have no more here. We sold it out yesterday.
Really?
Yes, in just a few hours.
That's fabulous. So the
Yes.
students of the book, and it was a sellout.
Sell out, yes. We couldn't keep it here yesterday.
So the students of John Buscema's class did a book, and it was a sellout in the first day, really. That's just fabulous.
Yes.
And everyone could get one of the comic books and find out the forms, and they can attend to school and be part of the sellout, right?
John's having courses on art, and I think it's fabulous because it gets a lot of new talent into the business, and it really encourages the youngsters into getting into creating artwork of this.
And youngsters is what it's all about, right?
Exactly. The four-color world of Marvel is all about fun.
Tell me, does
Read Marvel comic.
Yes, a lot.
Okay, what's your favorite character?
Iron Man,
How come?
because I just like what he does. I think he's a great character. I like the stories that they write about him, and all the inventions. That
Well, who's your favorite writer?
Stan Lee, but I also like Steve Gerber, because he has really great stories, unusual stories, not the usual cliches that you usually see with a lot of comics.
You seem to be a pretty sophisticated comic book reader. How long have you been reading?
For like 5 years now, I've collected thousands.
Yeah.
Comics.
What are the titles that you've collected?
Spider-Man, Iron Man, Avengers, Fantastic Four, Hulk, Silver Surfer, everything. Practically, I try to collect some of every kind of title.
That's the name of the store, really, the Super Snipe Comic Book Euphorium and Art Gallery, which has everything related to comics and a huge inventory of over 300,000 rare and new comics. Now, these include comics from 1934 to the present, including the Golden Age, plus a tremendous selection of original comic art. All new Marvel, DC, and other titles are sold at Super Snipe, often before they reach your local newsstand. The store is located at 1617 2nd Avenue, between 83rd and 84th Streets. It's open Tuesday through Saturday, 12:30 to 5:30, and on Fridays till 7 o'clock. For a catalog, merely send 75 cents to Super Snipe, 1617 2nd Avenue, New York City, New York, 10028. And remember, Super Snipe buys complete collections. And now, I want to talk to you about something else. Something near and dear to my heart. Namely, my own little book, The Origins of Marvel Comics. Now, this book is for the people, the untold millions all over the world who want to know, how did Marvel Comics start? Where did they come from? How did the first stories originate? Out of the goodness of my heart, I wrote this book, which has pictures and words and introductions and everything. It was followed immediately by a sequel called Son of Origins, which tells how the later Marvel comic strips started. It's really on very slick, beautiful paper, full color, and so forth, and I would be happy to tell you how to obtain your copy. All you've got to do is send $6.95 to Simon & Schuster. They'll pay the postage and handling. That's $6.95 to Simon & Schuster, Department MD, 630 5th Avenue, New York City, New York, 10020. Remember, write which book or books you prefer and how many copies. Print your name, address, and zip code clearly, because we wouldn't want your book to fall into the wrong hands. Now,
that came this whole thing.
And here's Marvel's own genius editor-writer, Roy Thomas, telling about Marvel's many marvelous mistakes.
The whole thing was just made up. The best example, though, of somebody doing it and maybe making a little mistake was, I think, was in Stan's early X-Men. A very, to me, very famous panel. One of, some of you probably remember, as I used to, the issue number and the page and everything. But Professor Xavier runs this school for all these teenagers, right? And, you know, he's supposed to be fairly young himself, but still, you know, he's bald and everything, you know, and he doesn't look all that young. And he looks kind of old and decrepit somehow, despite the fact he's not supposed to be that much older than the X-Men. And the thing is, Stan and most of the Marvel books, you know, they're just full of thought balloons. That's how we get a lot of thoughts across. Thought balloons all over the place. And Stan, you know, had an empty space he wanted to fill up in this one panel, in this one story. And I guess it just, I don't know, it just occurred to him there should be a thought balloon coming from Professor Xavier, while all the X-Men are just standing around there doing nothing except talking to each other. And Professor Xavier's just sitting there. He couldn't have him do nothing, so he put this thought balloon. I can't quote it exactly, but of course it's referring to Jean Grey, who's Marvel Girl. This is in one of the very earliest issues, and it says, "Oh, Jean, my darling, you know, if only you knew how I love you, you know." And then never again, you know, he wrote like 20 issues that, but never again did Professor Xavier ever express any prurient interest in Jean Grey. It was just, I think Stan just wrote it in there to fill the space, and then he forgot it. Now, if he'd wanted to, he could have made something out of this, but you know, he just left it in there, and once in a while we do this. So if you see a balloon sometime, you know, it may have just been what they call Homer nodding, which means that the writer fell asleep and wrote something and then later forgot to correct it. I once wrote something like, there's the doorbell, and the sound effect was knock knock, I remember, you know. That's true. My favorite example, though, in seeing the artwork, and, you know, and just, you know, like being a little pressed and forgetting to proofread something, was when I it was in the X-Men also, and the Beast was being handed a tool by Marvel Girl. I think it was like a pliers. And she says, and the line I wrote was, "Here's the screwdriver you wanted." And I thought it was just a mistake and so forth. I prepared for the usual letters. But one person defended me and said that it just proved that it was just like a swipe at women, you see, saying that they didn't know the difference between a pliers and a screwdriver. And the actual one who made the mistake was me. I do know, but I just, you know, wasn't paying attention. I don't know how these things happen. But
And now, going from the cultural to the chaotic, we had our very own karate kung fu exhibition there at the Marvel Con.
Real bad, watch it. Nobody can beat. Yeah? out there, kick the bolty job, stretch his head side. Couldn't beat that. Yeah! And if you didn't give me my money, that's why I'm gonna beat you up. Hit! Hey man, that was a boy!
Okay. Tell me when you're shooting. Okay. This is Captain America with the contest winners from the costume parade we had earlier this afternoon. I'm Captain America. Who are you?
The Gremlin.
And who are you?
I'm Iron Man.
Okay, these are the two first place winners. Are you a hero or are you a bad guy?
I'm a hero.
Who's your worst enemy?
My worst enemy, I suppose, is the Yellow Claw now.
Okay. Are you a hero or are you an enemy?
An enemy.
Who's the superhero that you fight the most?
The Hulk.
Hulk. Did you see him downstairs?
Yep.
Do you suppose he voted for you?
I hope so.
Okay. Number the second place man. These two gentlemen were tied for first place. The second place man is?
Hatemonger.
Okay, Hatemonger. Who are you? Are you a superhero or are you a super enemy?
I'm a super enemy.
And who is the hero that you fight most of the time?
Well, it's between S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Fantastic Four.
And that's it, the MarvelCon 1976. Be with us again next week for an actual art lesson with John Buscema. Thanks and good night. Excelsior.
Spider-Man is now very big in the rock music field because Life Song Records have just put out an album called Spider-Man, Rock Reflections of a Superhero. And believe it or not, we have the Silver Surfer on the keyboards, the background vocals by Fantastic Four, Captain America on percussion, and so forth and so forth. Their pictures are all on the back. And I'd like to tell you how to get this album also. If you will just send your name and address and zip code to Superhero Merchandise, Post Office Box 777, Dover, New Jersey, 07801. The album itself is 737, and the cassette or an 8-track cassette is 837. So just send the right amount of money to the address mentioned, and you can hear songs like No One Has a Crush on Peter, Count on Me, Gwendolyn, and so forth. It's really real rock for the older listener.